Mhm.
Sam.
This message is being live streamed. Oh, so you be able to live stream it directly to YouTube from Zoom?
Yep.
That's amazing.
I've done it a few times where I've sent it a few different places at the same time.
Got you. Yep, that's sweet.
One of the many things I don't have to understand or do. I just show up. I just show up. Wait another minute or so. At least for me to get started officially, even though John is recording our preliminary conversation.
Oh, I need to change that.
Hello, hello. Okay, John, do you expect me to just get started whenever I want to get started?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
No, I just made that decision right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Witness to History this Sunday, January 18th, 2026. As we honor the life and legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. this weekend, I'd like to welcome you all here this evening to Witness to History. Although our conversation this evening is not specifically on Dr. King, I think it's important to share the theme of this year's commemoration of Dr. Theme, Mission Possible 2, Building Community, Uniting a Nation the Nonviolent Way. This theme could not be more fitting as we have the honor of welcoming our Moreland neighbor and guest, Donald Black Jr., who is an acclaimed, brilliant photographer whose artistic talents have built and united us as a community. Through the lens of his camera, Donald captures important, powerful stories that we will never forget. We have the special opportunity of witnessing some of Donald's amazing photography this evening, some of which you have already seen. Thank you for joining us, Donald.
Thanks for having me. Thanks
Oh,
for the
oh,
invite.
it's our pleasure. It is clearly our pleasure. Long overdue.
Mm.
I always start off thanking a few people here and there. And the reason I do that, I can let you know that I learned this from my days of being on the radio, where somebody might only hear one broadcast. So that's why I thank folks at the beginning. But I want to start off by thanking Kevin Kay. Kevin, thank you, because I do believe that you introduced me to Donald and Allie. I do believe many years ago. And I came to a program of Donald's actually several years ago. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you, John, of course, for being my co-host. Thank you, everybody who's here today. Megan with our library, who always keeps our recordings in the library, and Theo for promoting our Witness to History programs to our community and beyond. And thank you all for being here this evening. We're going to have a wonderful conversation. But I want to just share with you that I think I knew Donald Black's work before I even met you. You know, some of it because, and recently because my route to the campus to Cleveland State is down Kinsman. So I get to see your work every day. I have the pleasure of seeing your work every day. And this is going to be a very special conversation. And we were just saying how you did record what we said, the other day in our conversation, but this will be a unique opportunity for people to know more about you. And, just to recognize that you're in the Moreland neighborhood. You're right in Moreland. So tell us a little bit about your background first, a little bit. How did this all start? How did your photography, how did your life as an artist begin?
How did my life as an artist begin? Um, so how did my life as an artist begin? When I think about my life as an artist, I don't have memories that I don't have memories of never being an artist. So I could remember obsessively drawing as early as 2 years old.
Mm.
And I've often tried to figure out like, okay, well, where did this come from? Why was I drawing so much? Why was I so quiet? And why did I draw so much? And why do I seem so different? And what makes me unique in relationship to the kids around me? And I've tried to figure that out my entire life. And what I've come up with is I experienced a significant amount of trauma and tragedy before I could remember.
Mm.
And whatever those experiences did to my need or want or desire to express myself or need to figure out how to cope emotionally. So I would say that that's how my life as an artist started was trauma.
Mm.
So that's how it started.
Okay. All right. And I want to share with our audience too that you all can chime in with questions and all throughout our conversation. And I'll make sure that I'll, ask those questions so it'll just, move our conversation along. You shared something else with me, Donald, when we had our conversation about when you were introduced to the camera.
Okay.
Yes. Tell us about that.
So my introduction to the camera was my mom she would go out and she would kick it with her sisters. They would go hang out at night.
Mhm.
And my mom was my mom was somebody who was taking a lot of pictures. She has a huge library and inventory of photographs throughout my entire life. And my mom was someone who used to draw a lot, and so did my dad. So my mom would have me take pictures of her in her outfit before she would go out. I'm probably 4 years old at the time. I'm living on 123rd and Abel. So as she's on her way to Vales or to Togo or wherever her and my aunts was going, I was the one with the responsibility not to cut her head off and not to cut her feet off in photographs. So that was my early introduction to the camera in terms of me using it. Like I said, my mom took a lot of pictures. My uncle took a lot of pictures. So it was photo albums always around me. And by the time I was maybe in the maybe seventh or eighth grade, the photography teacher that taught high school was bringing young kids around the photography room to see who might change their major to photography, introducing us to the dark room. So by 13 is when I got some formal dark room, black and white film, manual camera exposures, and that sort of thing. That's when that was introduced.
Mm. Wonderful. And you mentioned, where you lived. You're a Mount Pleasant kid, all
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. I like to claim the whole southeast side starting from down the way.
Okay.
So, I was born in Carver Park projects and I don't know, we moved out of the projects maybe by the time I was 3 or 4, but I still went to daycare in the projects at Hamilton Daycare. And then, my cousins and my family was all down the way. So learning to swim at POC, going to Lonnie
Mhm.
Burton, all that stuff that was my regular life. Um, and as my mom started to move on up, we got to Mount Pleasant. And I think she said she might have moved over 20 times in Mount Pleasant
Mhm.
by the time, but before I was a fourth grader. So I mean, I could name literally about off the top of my head, I probably could name about 10 or 15 streets we stayed on in Mount Pleasant.
Okay, okay, that's my
Yeah.
stomping grounds. We know Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, so I went
Right
to
here.
Corlett. I was supposed to go to John Adams, but I
Okay.
got into Cleveland School of the Arts, and that shifted my career, like my education career.
Hmm. Interesting. That's interesting. I probably know your mother. I mean, you mentioned Bells and Doggone. I mean, that's I know those places.
Right.
And then after the School of the Arts, you went off to Ohio University.
Yep. I went to OU after Cleveland School of the Arts. And
Oh.
then after OU, I went to New York for sabbatical.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Tell me what you mentioned New York and how what influence New York had on you and coming back to Cleveland and where you happen to live and the riding the train and the whole nine yards. Tell us a bit about that.
So when I moved to New York, the plan was not to move back to Cleveland because I wasn't ready to give up the freedom that I had from family and the people around me. You know, since I was a kid, I've always been one of those people in the family or in the friend circle that's like the advisor or the mentor. You know, they were calling me Papa Smurf from the
Mhm.
time I was a kid. And then other places in college they call me Papa Smurf. I moved to New
Mhm.
York and they call me Papa Smurf. So at some point I started to realize like, okay, so what is this whole Papa Smurf thing? What is this? What is this about? So I moved to New York, not to move back to Cleveland, because coming out of college, it was the first time that I was free without the emotional obligations that come with close and personal relationships. And being in New York, I was able to start to sit with myself as a person and as an artist, and really to evaluate what I was doing good at and what I felt like I was doing bad at. The fact that I was on the train and I was walking around a lot, the whatever the therapy is that's connected and associated with walking, was very, very peaceful. It was very, very healthy for me. Um, and being in New York, one of the things I felt like I learned is that the people who are in galleries and in museums seem to be telling the story of who they were and where they were from. And
Mhm.
at that time, I didn't know who I was, even though I knew where I was from, but I recognized that I couldn't take photographs of where I was from, not being at home. And then I started to teach in New York at Bank Street College and after school program. And while I was doing that, I would come home over the summer and I would teach at Artworks.
Mhm.
And when I would do artworks, I started being able to compare the interaction that I had with the children in Cleveland in comparison to the children in New York, and it just seemed to be more significant for me and for the young people in Cleveland because I was one of them, you know, an older version. We related in we related in more ways beyond being artists or wanting to be artists. So as much as it went against what I was being trained to believe about myself, which I was one of the few people that could make it out, and I made it out, and I was out, and I'm supposed to come back when I'm 90 and all this other stuff. At 27, it was me making the decision to move back to Cleveland after I was able to stomach the thought that people would think that I failed and I couldn't do it, and it was too hard, and all of this stuff that um, people tend to think, you know? And it was like, okay, well, I've never really followed what people thought about me or cared too hard about what people was misinterpreting. So once I could stomach it, knowing that I was going to have to hear it, I moved back. And actually, I was in Cleveland and decided never to go back. And I didn't really talk to anybody. I just did it. And, you know, everybody who was waiting for me to be out so they could see me on TV or famous or whatever they thought was just kind of like, no, don't come back, you know. So and I would explain to people when they would ask me, why did I move back? I said, you know, I'm not going to be able to explain it for 20 years because as much as I could feel that I was supposed to be in Cleveland, I wasn't able to express and communicate why I needed to be home and why I wanted to be here because my environment and the people around me couldn't fathom me and their perception of me being in Cleveland.
I'm gonna this just what you said. I'm gonna listen to it over and over again. I mean, because that's what for those of us who have left and come back, you have to explain it. It's like, why do I have to explain this?
Well, and people want the explanation because sometimes people perceive themselves not having what other people have, right? And then we label these people as different and special and capable of making it out, which ultimately implies people feel like they if they could they would,
Mhm.
and they can't. So they want to help hold up and push and support the people who they perceive that can.
Right.
So it's like Donald, you could be anywhere in the world. Why do you want to be here? And like I said, I mean, I tell people all the time, I'm not going to be able to explain it to you
Mm.
because I understand why, but it's not for me to explain it.
Mhm. And tonight you're going to show us while you're here.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. So let's get started. So so we're going to see. I want to go back to your I want to go back to your cover picture.
Okay.
Tell us about your cover picture here.
You said tell you about it.
Yeah.
What you want to know?
I mean, just how do you do that?
I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I mean, there's so many different places I can go with
Yeah.
the cover
Give us
picture.
one. Give us one.
It makes people uncomfortable.
Mm.
Yeah, it makes people uncomfortable.
Mm.
So
Interesting.
I recognize that what makes me comfortable. I'm aware when what makes me comfortable makes people uncomfortable, and it
Mm.
puts me in a position to have to choose my comfort over someone else's comfort. Coming from a life of making sure people were comfortable and trying to help people be comfortable with me, and it's been impossible. So at the point where it started, I realized that it's impossible. Um, when I look at this self-portrait, bio picture, whatever, however I use it, I recognize that the world of art and photography in the formal way is uncomfortable, not being able to see the face of
Mm.
me smiling, cheesing with the camera. They see dark silhouette with a hoodie and all of these symbols that identify what is supposed to make them uncomfortable.
Mm. Interesting.
So I mean, I could talk for days. I mean, on the pool table that I got and I picked up the morning that I found out my dad was dead, the day after he decided we was gonna put a pool table in this room so he could teach me how to shoot pool. It's so many different directions I could go.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
But what's your thoughts? How did it make when you saw
I
it?
wasn't uncomfortable. I was like, oh yeah, that's nice.
Well, what I've noticed is what makes me comfortable usually makes the people who identify with me comfortable.
Mm.
And it makes people who don't identify with me uncomfortable.
Mm.
So my goal is our comfort.
Mhm. Right. I was when I saw the and I just saw it today. I just saw it today and I was like, yes. This
So-
makes me
And normally when I send my bio picture, it makes me anxious
mm.
because of the feedback that I get in the formal world of art. You
Mm.
know, I could tell you that one of the last projects I did, they wanted me to send something else.
Okay. And you said,
I
nope.
said, no, thank you. You could leave. I prefer you leave me out of it. You don't need my picture. You have my work. So
Mm.
if how I want to represent myself doesn't make you comfortable, I can understand that. So we could just remove it.
Mm. I love it. I
It
love
just took me a long time to get there.
it. Yes. 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 Well, I'm glad you're there. All right. So let's go through we were beginning take us through this journey. And I want to share also that part of our conversation was that you're at the stage where you're presenting your work, your vision of where you're going, and in different ways. And Witness to History can be one of these opportunities to take us on this journey that
Yeah.
you like. Yes. So we
So,
photos. So just tell us about them.
okay, well, once I relocated back to Cleveland, I was looking through work that I had shot when I was living in Jersey City. And it was just fascinating to me that I was photographing these railroad signs, I mean, railroad tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And I never noticed the billboard in the back of the photograph until I was looking at the picture like years after I had moved back. So it was just interesting because it was like, come home, you know? And I didn't see that. And
Mm-hmm.
I've always been fascinated with railroad tracks for whatever reasons. So to be taking these pictures and it's like being programmed into my subconscious somehow is to come back home.
Yes.
So it just I don't know, I just figured I would start there with
Right. Nice. So let's go through them.
yeah, we can scroll through.
I was trying to figure out some of these buildings. Okay.
Oh yeah. This is what is this? This is Observation Elementary School,
Oh,
Cleveland School of the Arts.
yes.
Right. So I moved back to Cleveland at the beginning of the foreclosure crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom owned a construction company, weather and housing and weatherization in Mount Pleasant from the time I was like 9 years old, 10 years old. So I was really heavily paying attention to the buildings and the abandoned buildings in the city. And me following the abandoned buildings eventually led me back to Cleveland School of the Arts, um, as the building was abandoned. Um, and when I first moved back to Cleveland, what I realized is I really didn't know what I was supposed to be shooting. I didn't know who I was as a person, who I was as an artist. I came back and I had these skills and I had these talents, and I wasn't sure where they were supposed to go and what I was supposed to do with them. But the plan was to go to share what I had learned with all the places that contributed to developing me. And Cleveland School of the Arts was one of those places. It's actually one of the early places in me moving back when I realized that the black little boy who's the good kid, who's obedient and quiet, is not having the same experience as a black man who's becoming himself and expressing himself as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland School of the Arts was one of the early places where I could vividly see the stark difference. Teachers who, pat me on the head and gave me half of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches were offended by my honesty and my directness. It was almost as if what I had been learning, in terms of becoming myself and becoming an artist, it wasn't expected to stick.
Mm-hmm.
And this is definitely one of the early places where I started to have this experience of not belonging in places where I used to belong.
Wow. What
Yeah.
is black and white always?
Yeah, I learned photography formally in a dark room, film, printing. I got a dark room in my basement. I worked at a black and white lab when I lived in New York. And the the image for me is very similar to drawing, and I would draw in charcoal a lot. So for the image to be finished and be black and white and value and tone and elements and principles of design and visual art, like I'm attracted to that stuff like heavily. And even in going into digital, it's almost as if for my work, it's like it's stronger in black and white, or it's more honest to me in black and white. I'm not blinded by color. I'm not confused by the, misperception of vivid and beautiful color and its ability to manipulate
Mm-hmm.
what we're seeing. You know, I'm one of those people who like, oh yeah, all the colorful murals in the city
Mhm.
are a problem because they're colorful. You know, I don't get chosen because my work isn't colorful enough. So yeah, black and white. I mean, I got a couple color images, but out of 6 million, it's probably about 20.
Okay, okay. Well, let's go. I want to see all your photos. So take us through this journey.
Um,
And I had to tell you, every shot you have, I keep trying to make believe I know where it is.
what,
So
got you. What is Cleveland School of the Arts? This second
oh,
floor hallway, right outside the photography room, right across from the library and the dance room.
mhm,
So yeah, this is me. I mean, this is me exploring my history. I'm trying to figure out who I am. So I'm finding myself in these places, around these places, documenting this stuff that nobody's hiring me to document and that no one's sending me to cover as a story. You know, it was like I was making up my own story. Put myself on my own assignments. And I was the subject of my assignments that I was creating. So Cleveland School of the Arts is a very pivotal place with a lot of strong and lifelong relationships that got created in this space. And my thought is, without me going in there and shooting this building before they knocked it down, where the images at, which means
mhm,
where are images that help the children and the people who like lived in this place, you know, remember
sure.
the place.
Well, as a historian, I'm going to tell you how much I value photos, because talking about it and showing it are two different things, you
Yeah,
know.
and once you see it, it does something for our memory and the database of images and experiences. They're triggered in a stronger way when we can see something.
Absolutely. All righty,
Yep, we can keep going.
John. Ooh, yeah, this one really. Ooh, explain that to me.
So, I mean, so I'm trying to figure out who I am. And it's like, okay, so where I've been and my neighborhood and the people that I'm around, it started to help me have a better understanding of who I am. You know, so I mean, it's me with a drone flying it over top of,
Hmm,
you know, Mount Pleasant, Kinsman, some of these houses, some of these streets, trying to be able to, I don't know, I like being able to see the experience I was having from a different perspective, you know? Like I'm going to college and learning sociology and learning that I'm the demographic, one of the demographics that's being studied by the country, and I'm one of the numbers and I'm one of the statistics. It it made me want to kind of zoom out from my first person point of view of experiencing life in Cleveland, Mount Pleasant, in the hood, you know, and kind of zoom out. So I find myself, I don't know, it's like I'm doing a research study on myself and the people in the neighborhood around me in an artistic way, you know, as free as an artist could be doing it.
this could tell. I mean, so many people could tell stories from this photo. I mean, the first thing when you say Mount Pleasant, I'm like, okay, well, what came out to me? Well, I don't want to take too much time, because we have a lot more photos to
Oh
go.
no, go ahead. Yeah,
But
because we can some of
yeah,
them we
this
don't gotta, yeah.
building that has that light roof, is that contrast,
Hmm.
and the fact that it's black and white. Because if you're in an airplane, things are in color.
Right.
Oh, and so this is different.
Yeah.
This and it says so much. I'm gonna stop saying what I'm saying, and I'm gonna go on and have you continue on to share with us. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, this is my family.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, these my little cousins.
Okay,
They
so with
remind me of
this,
my. Hmm.
okay, go right ahead.
No, go ahead.
With this photo of your family, let's talk about the picture on what street is 135th, 137th.
Yep, 135th.
Okay, so tell us because I think you shared with me that's a family member as well.
Yep, she's in this picture.
In the middle?
Nope,
Nope.
on the end.
Uh, okay, well, tell us about the photo.
I mean, it's, when I'm thinking about who I am, oftentimes I'm thinking about my family. And I picture a lot of times when me and my family were kids. And I didn't understand what I understand about photography when I was a child. And it's like for me to take photography serious and relocate my life at home. I felt like it was a chance for me to take the pictures that I wish I would have took as a kid. So this is like a second generation or third generation of cousins, at a time when I know to keep my camera with me.
Mhm.
And it was important for me to have pictures of the people close to me and family members in my portfolio and as a part of the story of me as an artist. So I take pictures of my family every time I can. But, we wasn't together. I was downtown. They pulled up right on the side of me
Mm.
while I'm walking with the camera, you know? So yeah, it's my family.
Yeah, so
They're my
anybody,
subject. Photographers throughout the history of time, their claim to fame is their technical approach to what they were doing or who they photographed. So for me, I wanted to make the people close to me who I photographed as a part of my identity as an artist and as a photographer.
and for those of you online who happen not to know what I'm talking about when I say Kinsman, and the photo, well, one of the photos, because you have many photos, that are in the Mount Pleasant area. The one that's on 135th
Fifth.
is relatively new, at least building size new.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was sharing with you that every time I drive by, I see something different. I see something more, because as you're driving and you feel like you have the opportunity to be in a gallery, I mean, your work and other artists, have certainly made public art, something that everybody can enjoy. And hopefully people pay attention to it. Your work
Well,
and the
yeah, and I'm not one of the artists that get a chance to benefit from um the fad or the trend of public art, as a way to express yourself. I mean, I'm very much still operating being an artist with developing coping mechanisms. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I started putting images on buildings when I recognized that I wasn't gonna get no show in the museum and that all of the galleries was sitting there having me send CDs and they wasn't never gonna show my work. Or if they did want to show my work, they wanted me to be in a group show and they wanted to put my work behind the bathroom door. Or they wanted me to be represented in the show as a way to use as a way to trick black folks into believing that they're progressive or something like that. So the public art for me was birthed out of being inspired by hip hop. So for me, I know that when black folks was young and they wanted to express themselves, they went to the corner and then they shared what they was doing with
yeah.
no permission.
Mhm.
So that's what I was doing is I was going to do it and share it with no permission. I just was doing it with no permission in the daytime, and I put a lime green shirt on and some cones outside because I realized that nobody was gonna know if I had permission of doing it or not. And it's benefited a lot of visual artists in the city that that I started moving like that. So I'm very much one of many artists who show their work and express themselves on a public scale, but it's not coming from the same place.
Mhm.
I'm very much an outsider to the herd of visual artists who are being used by institutions and other artists in order to express themselves on buildings. You know,
Mhm.
it's not the same,
All right.
you know?
I love it. I love it. Let's see where we are from here. All right.
Bikes, pedal bikes.
Yes. I know you have a number of photos with
I
bikes.
got yeah, I got hundreds of thousands of photos of bikes. So me not fitting in, I started to look for worlds that I do fit in, places where I feel like I belong, where I feel like what I'm doing, what I could contribute to a world of people was wanted or needed or appreciated. And the bikes is one of them, you know?
Is this downtown?
That's downtown. And I was looking for who expressing freedom. You know, I'm like, okay, so what does freedom look like? Like, how do I go out and find something that when you see it, you feel free, you know?
Mhm.
And this is what I landed on.
All right. Okay.
Next.
Next photo. Easy Rider.
Yep, Easy Rider. 131st,
Hmm.
Benwood.
Okay.
I used to walk my girlfriend home when I was in the third grade from Corlett, and she lived on Benwood. And
Okay.
I used to go to this bike shop when I was a kid. I lived on Angeles and Leonard Craven. Used to walk to this bike shop,
Okay.
and I just remember seeing it abandoned, you know, and it felt important for me to have a photograph that would help me preserve those memories.
Yeah.
And thinking that people who have or who were more familiar with the place, the preserving of the memory, you know, keeping it as a part of the conversation. You know, I've been digging all through the Western Reserve and these archives trying to figure out where the heck are the pictures of us. You know what I'm saying? That's what I had been trying to figure out. So while I'm not finding pictures of us, I'm trying to capture as many pictures of us in for at least from my perspective as I could.
And I wanted to chime in if you see this chat, Aisha Bell Hardaway. Hi, Aisha. She says, beautiful memory for me.
Right.
Yes, I drive down 131st all the time. And I look, I look on either side of the street. I didn't frequent it that much, but I was looking for something the other day. That's interesting. That was on 131st. Yes. Mm. Here's another bike.
Yep. Bike life. Bike
Mhm.
life, Cleveland. I don't I mean I'm in the field. I'm with the outside folks. You know, that's the world that I represent. That's where the worlds are that I'm representatives of.
Well, and you're showing people a world they don't know.
Yeah.
Pay attention. These are human beings. I mean, they're they're in the world and people need to see each other. Mm. There's a lot to take in this
Mhm.
book.
Yep. Yeah, we don't really know our value. You know, when I'm assessing what's going on with people around me, we don't really know our true value. And I just recognize the role that the camera and photographs and artistic documentation can play in the help into creating a perception of value, you know?
Were there, when I look at these for all of your photos and other, photographers come to mind, were there any that inspired you as we look at some other of your photos?
I mean, my biggest inspiration was probably the manipulative depiction of black folks from white photographers, honestly.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
I studied the popular black photographers, you know, the couple that they're gonna teach us about, the couple that they're gonna show. And, they didn't really inspire me to say, oh, this is what I'm gonna do, you know? It was it was it was the images that were in my head with the experience, the lived experience that I was having and not seeing my lived experience represented or my perspective, and I like to define it as an insider's perspective. Studying photo history, I've seen people who are representatives of communities and groups of people that I'm representative of, depicted from an outsider's perspective,
Mhm.
and the void of the insider's perspective in photography history in a broad sense is more of my inspiration than anything.
Mhm.
I had to stumble upon Black photographers who
Mhm.
I identified with their work.
Okay.
It wasn't
Mhm.
they wasn't as available as Michael Jordan, you know what I'm saying, or Martin Luther King per se. I got an argument going with some pretty uh, you know important photography world people that Martin Luther King is equivalent to Gordon Parks,
Mhm. Okay.
and that, you know, Roy DeCarava. No, what was it? I think we might have been arguing that the argument might have been Martin Luther King is the Gordon Parks, and I'm not sure if there is a Malcolm X of photography.
Mhm.
That might have been our art. That was the argument that we were
Interesting.
having.
Wow, that's a
Yeah.
good. I want to go back to that other picture. That was the one before we got started. I wanted you to explain to me the one right before this.
Oh, right here.
Yes.
Yeah, this the fake protest. This the modern day. This the protest in the 2020s. You
Okay.
know, the very scripted, George Floyd, the organized protest, the peaceful, all of that. So, we downtown. I just love the fact that it was a white boy jumping on top of the car. And I
Okay.
don't know if I believe if the black dude up there, if he would have started jumping on the car,
Mm,
if he would have been able to jump on the car long enough for me to get a picture.
okay.
So the appropriation of the culture, hip hop culture, the fuck the police, fuck 12, um, you know, NWA, Ghetto Boy, I really appreciated the appropriation of the culture in this
Mm,
experience of watching a white boy stump out the police car.
okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it was, I
That
mean, it's one of my
caught my
favorite
eye.
photographs.
Absolutely. Take us on this journey.
Yeah, I mean, surrounded by death,
Yes.
you know. Somebody said the constant closeness to death, and I don't remember who that was that said it, but that's very much what this represents, is the constant closeness to it. If if you're not directly experiencing it, then you are next to somebody who is directly experiencing it. So I found myself going to the funerals, you
Mhm.
know, and taking pictures of the experience. I mean, it's got a significant influence and hold on the experience the black folks around me are having. So for me to ignore it with the camera,
Mm,
pretty hard. I'm rest in peace t-shirts for 20 years. I'm obituaries. I'm photographs. I'm, wrapping caskets. You know what I'm saying? So, and I also know that some of the history in the city of Cleveland is that the funeral home is the reason why Black folks really had beautiful documentation of themselves, by
yes.
way of Will's funeral home specifically, with Alan Cole as the photographer. So
Mhm.
for the photograph in death has been pretty close, you
Mm,
know,
yeah.
closely knit, and it's hard to tell people like, let me take the pictures because we all gonna die at some point, but that's a reality,
Yes. Yes,
you
it is.
know.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. And and I mean, you have others. Well, okay, go ahead. I think you have others that are depicting burial in
Yeah.
your collection here. And some of the story that I heard you tell, maybe the first time I saw, your talk and the image on the store on 144th Street, and I don't think you
Yeah.
have in this collection, but you have some images there. So tell us where we are here.
You know, Black folks, we didn't went through civil rights. They didn't gave us crack. They didn't desegregated us. They didn't sent all of the good kids to college. And then you got the baby boomers still arguing about being excluded. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in a room with artists still complaining about what ain't happening that's not fair. And the work that we are making is beautiful, but the need for acceptance is it's hard to watch, you know. But the the for me to be in the rooms and to document what's happening and not need the room to validate what I'm doing is a very freeing experience, you know? So it's like I'm going and I'm collecting. I mean, honestly, the way I look at it is I'm going around and I'm collecting all my niggas for me to go and do whatever I'm supposed to do with it. That's really how I feel, you know? So I'm in these worlds, so I participate in these worlds, and it's more significant to me to photograph a 65, 70-year-old black man holding a self-portrait of himself when he's 30 than it is if the Caramel House is really going to help this group of people, with myself included, figure out how to get some money to make art. For
Mhm.
me, being an artist is figuring out how to get it done without having to be in the room.
Right, right. And at the heart of an artist, I would think that that's the answer. It's
I,
not necessarily, I mean, that's what drives you. That's who you are.
yeah.
You
And I
know.
think who we are and who we've become has been hijacked. You know what I'm saying? And we are on a we're not on the journey of being ourselves, becoming ourselves, and expressing ourselves, and figuring out how to sustain it.
Mhm.
We believe in the system. Some of us do. And I
Mhm.
think it's been to our detriment, our belief in the system.
Well, we're in that society. I mean, that's the recognition that sometimes does inspire people. you
To
know.
need to inspire us, to inspire people to need more recognition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. What's our next photo? Here we are.
Me and my dad on a
Hmm.
bike ride.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
All right.
You know, and I know the symbols I'm attracted to, and you know, the bike, the silhouette,
Mhm.
you know. So for me, oftentimes when I'm moving around, it's like my mind is taking pictures and recording all the time. And so when I'm not by myself, when I'm experiencing something that I'm attracted to, like a tunnel, knowing that it's silhouettes, and then it's like, oh yeah, Dad, let's ride back out and let's ride this way. It's like this is how I am, like sculpting and molding some of my photographs. I study light. I know time of day. I know what's gonna be in shadow, what's gonna be in silhouette, and like I said, I have an inventory of my lived experience that's creating images that oftentimes I just need the right subject for. And this
Mm-hmm.
is one of those moments.
Yes, yes, perfect. I want to make sure I see this note here. Quintella Secchietta, sorry, I have to leave. These photos are great. Think about making a book or several books to share these photos. Thank you for sharing. And she had to leave. And then Mariama says, love the silhouette. This is this is beautiful.
Thank you. Yep. And this is my dad.
Yes. Nice.
This is one of my favorite pictures.
Wow. Yes. It's eye-catching.
This
Where
Kinsman. This coming down the hill before you get to 79th.
I see. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it's,
Hmm.
these my tools, these
Yeah.
my symbols. This is neighborhood, this is city. We right by Garden Valley, I got family. Garden Valley is such a part of my experience of Cleveland, and it's how I move through the city currently. It's Kinsman.
I drive down Kinsman almost every day. Of course, you're paying attention to other things when you're driving. Well, I pull out my phone and take pictures too. But anyway,
Gotcha.
and I was like, okay, that's the second hill. You go down one hill,
Yep. And then you go down the other hill. Yep.
then you get down the other hill, and there you are. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
So for me, it's I done studied so long with, the camera and images and imagery, so I'm just usually looking for what kind of what attracts me when I'm just
Mhm.
moving through at in a place that a lot of people would say that they don't want to be, you know, and showing that our place looked like every other place.
Right, right,
You know
right,
what I'm
right.
saying? And if our perception of it was a little different, the experience of it would be different. I have a ball living at home in Cleveland, riding through Mount Pleasant and Kinsman. And most people wouldn't believe that. They wouldn't describe it as that, you know?
No.
Like I'm always visually and artistically stimulated.
Mhm. I always tell people Cleveland is the shortest distance between me and CSU. I mean, it makes sense. And I remember when they paved Kinsman, they concrete. I was like, plus it's not doesn't have all those potholes.
Right.
Who wouldn't drive down Kinsman? I mean, it
Yeah.
makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. But this is a different vantage point. I'm going to look at it differently, just because I see it in color and, I'm looking.
Yeah. And an older white guy said he started teaching me about the discrepancy of the multiple electric companies.
Mm,
Is why we see so many, light poles. And on one side of the street is one company. He talking about it from a economic
yeah.
perspective. I just recognize that the poles to me like replace what trees are. So I look at street lights and street poles in a similar fashion as trees. Why? Because I mean, I guess how tall they are, how frequent we see them, they butted up against trees. So it's just one of those elements, and the street light itself.
That's beautiful. So I don't know how many more photos we have. John, do you have an idea?
It's 45.
Oh, I know there are total.
It
Well,
showed on the bottom left. If he hover or click, it showed a number at one point.
this is the photo.
19.
Tell us the story.
Um, you know, RIP, long live my cousin, and how we grieve is we about to get drunk and we about to pop bottles and we about to drink, 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 and we gonna come and we gonna make it a part of the shrine in the middle of the neighborhood.
Yes. Hmm. And I don't know who one of my grandchildren, I think my youngest grandson asked me about a place where the shrine is visible. And he said somebody must have died there.
Yep.
I said, that's right, evidently. And so for people to know that that's something that has been, created,
Hmm.
you know, people,
As a form of
everybody,
expression. Yeah, yeah.
everybody can participate in
Yep.
that, in that grieving.
Yep.
Hmm. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
My dad passed. I wrapped my dad's casket, and this little boy stood across, and it just in a
Wow.
moment it was like I was a little boy looking at this casket. It was an eerie feeling when it happened
Mm.
because it was like I was seeing through the little boy's eyes as the little boy in me of my dad or something. It was weird, but it
Mm.
was appreciated.
Yes. And for you to capture that, that's something.
Yeah,
Oh.
so I'm around a lot of, unsung heroes, a lot of neighborhood heroes, you know, people who didn't get an opportunity to really tap in and express their full potential, and this was a young man who was an amazing athlete, um, who I followed when he was like in middle school for multiple years as a football player.
Mm.
And this was kind of like after football was no longer a part of his life. I still kind of went and took pictures of, the football players who never made it, who just still go play in the hood.
Mm.
So that's why, like I said, we don't know we got value and we don't really know that we special,
Right, we don't.
not for real, we don't,
Mm.
especially not special to each other. So, I mean, it's just, I had to explain to someone who's no longer a friend of mine that me with the camera is how I show love. It just is. And it might, photography then got commercialized. Everybody got cameras, everybody a photographer. For me, it's a coping mechanism. It's
Mm.
a artistic tool for me. It's a form of expression for me. Um, and if people don't value that, I usually get away from that. I'm not the cameraman, is what I'm
Mm.
often trying to get people to process, you know? Yeah, that's Mumu.
Who is that?
His name is Mumu.
Mumu.
Yep.
Right. In motion.
In motion.
Mhm.
This the freedom. I'm on the freedom ride. And I need to be able to try to I had to figure out different ways to try to express it technically, to
Yes.
try to recreate the feeling that I'm experiencing when I'm getting to document this.
Mm.
I got a lot of these photographs, and this is one of my
Yes.
favorite photographs of the
Nice.
dirt bikes because
Hmm.
this is what it feels like. And for me, this photograph um, has a sonic element to it. And I don't know that I got photographs where I feel like when I'm looking at it, it's like I'm hearing something.
Mm. Comes to life. Yes. Mariam says, I feel that. Mhm.
So, the people I'm meeting on my journey, trying to figure out who I am. This was uh, David Coleman, the drummer. Um, and it was at a time where I hurt my hands, and he's like, "You need something else to hit." So we started spending a lot of time together, learning the drum, building the drum,
Mm.
and I was documenting being around him. You
Oh,
know, and then several years after he passed away. But I just feel like what I've done with the camera, or what I'm supposed to do with the camera, is to take the pictures and aim all of the techniques that I've been taught and trained, aim them at the world that I'm in and at the people that I'm around, and to create an archive.
mm. Mm. That's a beautiful picture.
Yeah, balloon
Okay.
release. Yeah, this balloon release,
Yes.
you
Okay.
know, phase one when somebody passed away. This
Yes.
usually this usually is the step one.
Wow. And this is really powerful in black and white.
Yeah.
Really is. Mm.
Outside the funeral.
Mm. Loss, ordinary people, what people experience, everybody experiences it in
Yeah.
different ways.
And
Mm.
I feel like I was being extracted from my own community to go
Mm.
take pictures that didn't look like this, that didn't have none of this meaning. Like I feel like I was being recruited to be away from everything that I'm seeing and experiencing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You
Yeah.
know, it's like I was being trained and taught to go aim my camera at something that I was being told was significant to take pictures of.
Well, you can go back to that first photo that said come home.
Right. Right.
Oh, well, yes. Oh, this Momo.
Yep. That's Moo.
Momo.
Mm-hmm.
Momo.
Yep.
All right, on the football field.
And this
Mm.
was one of my cousin's players. My cousin was a coach,
Okay.
and this was, for somebody who had coached football, played football for a long time, my cousin Quandale, it meant something for me to meet the football player that he was the most excited about. Like he thought this young man was the best football player he ever watched play football.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Mm. You never know which direction people's lives are going to go.
right.
I mean, we do pass by people who who are the best,
Yep.
who are
Yep.
the best.
Who may not ever get the opportunity to show it or express it,
That's right.
but they may have had an influence on the people around them and they don't even know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This was just some graffiti I saw and I appreciated it because I feel like I honor the kids and the children around me, you
Mm.
know? And, they say what the artist is the child that survived, so to be able to honor the child in myself, I
Yeah,
just appreciated it when I seen it.
I like that. The power of graffiti. Whew, artistry.
The abandoned buildings, foreclosure.
Yes.
This what we see.
Yes, unfortunately. I even think about the picture you took about observation, and there are a number of abandoned Cleveland school buildings
Right. Yeah.
standing.
hmm It was one I just seen on Instagram that I want to go inside of, but I can't
Mm.
remember which school building it was yet.
One that catches my eye all the time is Central over on 40th Street.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I
Mm.
would love to go in there.
Yes.
My mother went there.
Oh, is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
My mother went to
It
Central.
was a junior high. I couldn't place this photo like I'm supposed to know every place in Cleveland, right?
You're supposed to know this place though.
Okay. All right. I don't
This
know.
this Whitmore's.
Oh, goodness.
Yep. And they go to car wash.
Oh, good.
Yep.
The car wash. Okay, folks. The car wash I go to.
Yep. So yeah, now you see
Sometimes,
exactly where it's at.
like, yeah, I would spend all that money washing my car. Oh, that's good. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna remember this one.
Yeah. So yeah, this is me walking up and down the street,
Yes, yes, yes.
seeing what kind of like universal artistic presence I'm gonna be given. Trying to go at the time where I know what the lighting is gonna do and
Mm,
all of that.
yes. This is okay. So our next time has to be like a class. Have you found any old pictures of native son that used to be there? I
Nope.
used to go harder way is asking that question. Oh, no pictures of a native son. I remember native son.
Yep. Somebody got these pictures though. I know they do.
Hmm.
Somebody got a
Yeah.
large inventory of these pictures.
At the project, people have to think about who was in the neighborhood. But whether people thought about taking pictures is another story. People take pictures now because they have their phones.
Yeah, but they in the hood, Pittsburgh, Teeny Harris, they found like 10 or 15,000 negatives. It's people taking
Mm.
it's pictures. They just
Native,
they hidden.
native son was your father's old spot, Aisha. All right.
Yeah, it's the native son area. Oh, yeah, more dirt bikes.
Yes, yes, yes. Mhm. If we don't see him, we can hear him.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah, this the I don't know. It's like this the underworld. It's like this the part of the city that these places and these institutions pretend like it don't even exist. And in turn, don't nobody in this truck care about none of that stuff. You know? I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of it.
With the backdrop against that sky. Look at that sky. That's, oof. Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
I can't even say anything about this. That's beautiful. Mm, 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 mm. Freedom.
Yep. Pure freedom.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Charles Pinkney. portrait of an artist, photographer, and painter.
Familiar.
You say he looks familiar?
The name is familiar.
Yeah, his wife is Betty Pinkney.
Oh, okay. Okay. I know who Betty Pinkney is.
Yep, this is
Thank you.
yep, this is her husband Charles.
Mm. No justice, no peace.
FTP.
I understand.
I just think it's funny because FTP also is an acronym for a file transferring process too.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Oh, I appreciate being in the world. Yeah. Mm,
Cotton Club
nice.
on 131st and Miles. I probably took this picture when I first moved back home because they was getting ready to knock it down.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the teen spots. So we used to go hang out as 13 and 14-year-olds there.
Your generation younger than me. I don't remember.
Yep. This is right on the corner of
Painting.
131st and Miles.
That's a nice painting. Mm-hmm.
Yep, the Cotton Club.
Nice.
Yep, salute.
Yes.
One of the little babies around me.
Mm-hmm. Capture those babies.
Yeah, a little Cleveland protest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even take the protest. I say it and I'd be being funny. I'm being sarcastic when I say that.
What? What
What
you
I'm saying, the Cleveland protest,
Oh,
this stuff ain't, yeah.
well, let's appreciate the photography. Look at this. I think important in your photos also is whatever is in the background.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely a part of the photograph.
Yes. Mm. Well, we see what's in the background here.
Mhm. The Just Us
Yeah.
Center.
Yes. Yes. So, I think that this is important, for people to know Cleveland.
Hmm.
Many people really just don't know the city.
No, they don't.
Mm-mm. No.
I say that a lot of times it seems like a lot of people's perception, like if you're not a part of the world where you see any of this stuff, then it's like you're a part of the world that functions on the White Islands in Cleveland, is what I call it.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, when you pop from, University Circle, downtown, Gordon Square, Ohio, if you hop around the city, versus moving through the city.
Hmm. Hmm. Mm.
Yep. Family.
Hmm. All right.
Hmm. Gambling,
All right.
playing
Well,
cards.
mhm. Something everybody should know how to do. To write a passage. You don't have some card game you can play.
Right.
Yeah. Mm. Tell me about this photo.
Pouring out a little liquor.
Yeah. Libation.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Libation.
In that phase of grief.
Hmm. To the ancestors. Hmm. Yes. Hmm. I went through these photos so fast. That person's on skates.
Yep.
All right. That brings back memories.
Yeah, it was like I tell people I was born in the skating rink. My mother and father met at the skating rink.
Uh-oh. Which one?
Blue Goose.
Oh, okay. I missed that. I
Yep.
went to the Playmore. I'm going to date myself. Playmore.
Yep. Yeah. So the Blue Goose was on, I think 82nd and Central or something like that.
You're younger than me. Yes, yes, yes.
Hmm.
I wish I could skate now. Oof. You talk
Yeah.
about freedom.
Skating is freedom.
Yes.
Yep. I keep me a pair of fresh skates. I'm a
Good.
skater.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I'm a skater, but they used to have me. I was the baby in the bassinet at the skating rink growing
Oh
up.
my goodness.
Before I could do anything, they used to catch the bus to Whitcliffe with me and brought me up in the skating rink. Mother
Oh,
and father,
nice.
super, super, super skaters.
Oh, nice. That's wonderful.
Yep, yep,
That real well, coming up, that was another one of those rite of passage. Everybody had to know how to skate.
yep.
I mean, we skated on the sidewalk too, but we went to the, skating rinks, and we went to Woodhill.
And I learned to skate in the street on 123rd and Angeles. That's
Mm-hmm.
where I learned to skate on the blacktop. Scared to fall because the ground was so hot.
Yeah, right, right. Do you skate, Allie? Yeah, yes. Oh my goodness.
I don't skate like Donald and his parents, but I can skate.
Okay, that's nice. That's nice. Wow. I'd be
Yeah,
too afraid to do
we
it now.
we
I'd be too
we
afraid to
just
fall.
we've been boycotting it because of the DJs.
Oh,
But
really?
no, but we prefer to skate weekly.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm, there we are.
More dirt bikes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Different vantage points.
Mm-hmm. A dude sitting there recording with his
Mhm.
son or grandson or something.
All right. Yes. See, that's what every one of these, we have to stop and look
Yep.
what's in the frame, what you see, what you see. Mhm. Mm. Oh, that's interesting. Wow. Downtown,
Mm-hmm.
downtown, Federal Building, the terminal. Okay. All right. 131st Street.
Yep. And I just remember that. I remember that painting on the side of that building.
Mhm. This is where you get your bike. Yeah. Nice. Now, this is a nice photo.
Yeah, I had a gallery space on Lee Road across the street from Sharks when I first moved home.
Oh, okay.
And my family would come up there daily.
Oh, nice.
Yep, they would come up there daily.
Okay, this is your space.
Yep, that's my space. Right. It was at the old Vanels. It was like a carpet place or something
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right on the other
before.
side. All
Hmm.
right. I always say on the other side of Scottsdale. Everything to me has relationship with the other side of Lee and the other side of Scottsdale, other side of
Got you. That's the divide.
Yeah. That's good. And I know where Sharks is, of course.
Yeah. So that's directly across the street from Sharks.
Yeah. Oh, was that the last photo?
Yep, that was the last
Oh,
one.
oh, okay. I'm sure I'm like on. I'm ready to see more. Wow. Donald. And I know these are just a few
Yeah, that's
Your photos.
yep, just a few.
And I had asked you, and I won't even get into how much you draw. You told me you draw every day, all day, all the time. Okay, so that's another whole part of your life. And Iris Anderson says, skating was a culture unto itself. Woodhill Park was the place to be. Loved it. Memories. That's what Iris says. That's where we went to. The Woodhill, when they had that hill.
Hmm.
Anybody want to chime in with any chats or any comments anybody would like to say, or any questions you might have for Donald while you have him here on Witness to History?
Yeah, I have a quick question. Um, you were talking about kind of being marginalized as far as where you were able to have been able to show your work. Has that changed, or what's
Um,
your plans for a bigger show? Or
has it changed? No, it hasn't changed. And I think maybe my perception of it has changed. I think at some point, at first, I kind of was looking like I was being excluded, and to be excluded for me started to make me just pay where I was being excluded less attention. I'm not really interested in my options of where to show my work, you know? And when I do show the work, it's in non-traditional places. I mean, I had a big show at the airport, and that was huge. But a, my name comes up in a lot of conversations that the museum is having, and these folks having conversation about me not being obedient enough, and then these conversations coming back to me.
great.
So it hasn't changed, but I don't know that I need it to change. It would be good if I could show and share my work more with the people in the city of Cleveland, but I don't know if that's going to be a reality. Um, so I don't, you know, I'm figuring out other ways to show the work.
Have you looked at options for other cities that would be more appreciative, or give you more freedom, just to show it, just so it can be seen more?
Yeah, so I was on the East Coast maybe about 15 years ago with a nice amount of relationships. And during when I was on the East Coast, what I realized is I was missing the work that I've created over the last 15 years. So for me now is more about packaging up the work and going and reconnecting with relationships that I've built in other cities.
Hmm.
So that's the way the work will start to really be able to be seen, specifically in Cleveland, in my own space, will probably be the way the work is seen. It was a huge This was a huge motivation for me to start to put the work up large scale as murals, is so I could show the work and share the work and get feedback from the city. It was like I felt like I was being hidden or kept a secret, is the reason I started putting the images up in the neighborhoods. And I think that's something that I'm just going to continuously do. I mean, the goal for me was to be able to have a portfolio of my photography in the neighborhood. So if I'm not in the museum, which we don't go to, and if I'm not at the galleries, which a lot of them we don't go to, I won't miss out on the exchange of me, my work, and the city of Cleveland.
Mm. All right, Chicago might be a place to check out too.
Okay, yep, I'll take that in consideration. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other comments, questions while we have Donald here? Oh, Iris. Oh,
Yes, hi. I am a lover of the arts, all forms. And I think your work is fantastic because it's not just a photo, it's it depicts some energy around the photo, and there's a part of you in that photo. Keep pushing. The right opportunity is out there for you. I loved what I saw. And I know that's just a fraction of what you have.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I feel like we have been at an arts talk. This has been really wonderful.
Yes.
It's been wonderful. Diane? Oh,
Yes, that is completely inspiring, intriguing. Every photo has intrigue. We as the viewer can make our own stories with what you have presented. You are like the witness. You're the witness, but you don't comment on what you've done. I don't know if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Your eye is the witness, and you have a brilliant eye for whoa. So it's yeah, I could see your work just every place. I don't know your plan. Somebody said a book. Do you when you have a show or going to have a show, do you want the photos to be sold? Do you want to be in a gallery and people can buy the photos? Have you done that?
Yeah, I mean, I've probably been in a couple hundred shows.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been in a
And
couple
people,
hundred shows. It's interesting. My experience is that I mean, my experience has been when I'm talking to the New York Times or I'm talking to the Guardian, they're telling me there's no market for my work or they haven't seen black people depicted in this way, right?
well,
So,
they have no history then. If they have
well,
no history.
and right, so the
Yes.
formal stuff
Mm-hmm.
I don't seem to fit. The unconditional, the non-traditional stuff is where I seem to that's where I belong. That's where I fit. And some of those places are galleries where the work sells, and then other experiences where the work doesn't sell. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it's I mean, I've been showing my work since I was a teenager. You know, I've been showing my
Okay.
work for almost 30 years. So, I do show. I mean, I've been doing a variety of things to show the work. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's very powerful.
Thank you.
hey there, Aisha.
I hope it's okay for me to share this. This is like a part of my family, Donald, and I feel a little bit remiss to not say that he is a community partner with the Social Justice Institute. And so our students have been fortunate enough to have an exhibit of Donald's in our Kelvin Smith Library. And Dr. Mama, you were at Keith's concert.
Mm-hmm.
Donald and Allie were selling, right? He had his prints there. Mariama sang, right, before Keith's show. So the artistic thread for the Institute, Donald is a key partner. I don't know, like, if
And that's what I
we should
mean.
have,
The unconventional is where it's at. You know, it's the
yeah.
they taught me to do this in a completely different way than it's necessary for me to do this thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Donald, the other thing I wanted to say is Easy Rider. Like, so that man was a close friend of my dad. So we were always in Easy Rider. Our basement on 123rd and Dove had all sorts of bikes from,
Oh wow.
yeah. And Mariama, you don't know this, but his daughter ran track with us. She's class of 94 or 95, and I can't think of her name, but when I describe her to you, you're gonna know exactly. She ran mid-range 400 and 800. And so that, like, complete full circle to see you capturing the images as it was once he passed on, right? But I remember it when it was vibrant, and I'd be like all the bikes on the sidewalk, and I'd be like, Daddy, give me one,
Yeah,
you
me
know?
too. I'm like, hey, you know, we walk around and walk in there, we looking for a bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted
Get
the
this
one with
bike
a horn
fixed.
on it. I remember I remember being in there.
Give me the basket. Yeah, all of that. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Connections. You have important people in the room tonight who are listening to what it is that you're saying. This is wonderful. Yes, Kevin.
Um, I was just really struck again tonight, looking at the photos. you know, people use the expression about the mean streets of certain neighborhoods, and you have such beautiful images of love and tenderness and caring, including a lot of images of caring and tenderness among men, who are even men uh, who are seen as trying to project toughness and hardness, and yet you capture that love and tenderness and caring, though. You just have, it's just wonderful the way you get those moments.
Yeah, I got my theory is that the toughest people I know all got a grandmother that they love that love them. So it's it's like it's a part of all of us. It's baked in there, and we can't get rid of it no matter how hard we try. You know, and that's what I see in the people that I'm around. It's like, I mean, I get it. I know, I know the story. I know the situations that you might have been in, but I also know it's people you love that and people that love you, which means it's love to be found in everybody.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. We had an opportunity to see your photos also when we interviewed Allie.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Saw a number of your photos. And does anybody have any other comments or questions? I wanted to, yes, Diane. You're
Gotta
muted.
unmute. Mhm.
Okay, I see, since this is the couple, Allie and Donald, I see you all in the same projectile with the poetry and with the photography.
Good.
Daring, unabashed daring, and beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. And in my mind, me and Allie is like Love Jones, except me as the guy, I'm the photographer, and she's a writer versus the two main characters.
Mm.
Because the main characters in that movie were a writer, photographer couple.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Okay, beautiful.
Tell your story through poetry, pull that together, poetry and photography, and who knows? Who knows?
That's what we didn't mention
Yeah,
is Allie being nominated
that's right.
for NAACP Image Award.
Yes, yes, yes. Congratulations, Allie.
Oh, thank y'all. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
Why you
We're
say
on-
it's so important. It had to be said. Look, I done came off without permission. Okay, bye.
No, everybody has permission. Everybody applaud both of you. We
No, I
applaud
appreciate it.
congratulations. Yes, on the national stage.
Right.
That's for sure, international. And it's really, for me, it's just hard to imagine that people don't know the story. People don't know the story that your pictures tell us.
Right.
They don't know it. So they think it doesn't fit anywhere. But it's just
What's funny is I didn't know it.
Mm, mm.
This was a discovery process. I didn't know that these was the pictures I was about to take. I had to try to clear my head of what I thought I was supposed to do. And this is what happened. It was like I didn't see myself and the world around me as valuable. I was off somewhere looking for what I'm supposed to take pictures of. So I would argue that, we don't see it either. You know? And not that we all don't see it, because some of us clearly do. But if I'm being honest, I I continuously look at the images and say, man, you would have never told me that this is what I was supposed to be taking pictures of. And everything I thought I was supposed to be taking pictures of is like I don't even have the energy or excitement to do it. Yeah, it's been interesting discovering it and finding a purpose in it. Because it's not what the 22-year-old me thought I was supposed to do. You know, I thought I was supposed to be out the way everybody told me to get out and make it out. So that's where I was at. Out. I don't know what I was doing, you know?
At the mind of an artist, I would imagine that some people don't remain artists, or at least they don't continue to be committed to their art. So they don't know where it's going.
Exactly.
You know, you have to follow it.
You got to follow it. And it's following the unknown of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If I could add, you saying that about you discovering it being a discovery for you, I think that is such a lesson to teach young people and to share with young people, because a lot of times they listen to artists who are older and people that they are who inspire them, and they think they had this huge vision of what it looked like, and sometimes it's a matter of sharing with them, you didn't know.
Not knowing is the way. That's the way to know.
That's the path.
That's the way you know you're doing the right thing. If you know.
Yeah.
What is it? Right. If you know you walk in somebody else's path. It's the unknown. You won't figure it out in your head, in your mind. You're gonna have to figure it out in front of you.
Exactly. In the moment.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely what I wish someone would have told me, 20, 30 years ago. Is like, Donald, you're not supposed to know. I thought I was keeping the fact that I didn't know a secret because I thought everybody knew but me. And it's like, oh, we're not supposed to know. Okay, no, cool. I can keep going.
That's the gem to share, because we're all thinking we're supposed to know.
Yeah.
And we don't. And that's the magic of discovery. It's like, oh my God, you find new things. I really enjoyed watching all your, photos, because each of them had their own unique vibrance and story to them.
Thank you. Yeah, we could have talked for an hour on each one. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I'm sure.
We'll do that one day. We're going to figure out how to put it on another stage or whoever, we can be creative, right, John? We can do whatever we want to do.
Right.
You hear that, folks? And Aisha, I like how you captured this point. That's good, my old self to hear too. Well, thank you.
That was a typo. That should say that's good for my old self to hear.
Too.
Like a good reminder for my old self, right? We're not supposed to know. Breaking out of the mold is, is so critically important. That's where the beauty is. That's where the discovery is.
Yeah.
And we thank
you. You keep telling me that, Donald, in different ways. I just want you to know I'm here.
Right.
Yes. And thank you for not listening to anybody who told you should know. Okay, so you're still at this, and it's evolving. Thank you for spending your evening with us and everybody else here today.
Thank you.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much. And congratulations again, Allie. We're going to stay tuned.
Congratulations. And thank you. Thank you, Donald.
Yep. Thank you.
Wonderful presentation.
Appreciate it.
Yes. Well, I'm always looking for guests. I have a guest for February, Josh Romig, who is a part of our community. We've adopted him because he works at the library. So he's going to be our guest in February. And in March, Cheryl Jean Bobo will be our guest. So I'm looking for guests to fill up the rest of the year. April, May, I have plenty of months to go. And I appreciate always when people are interested in being our guests on Witness to History. As you know, these are available on our Shaker Library website in the Moreland Histories and Images section. And it's just always an honor. I mean, I can't even express to all of the guests that I've had how it feels to learn more about people who live in our neighborhood. And I just feel like, you know, we have rich stories, not just to preserve them, but just in every household, somebody has something to share. And I really appreciate everybody taking the time tonight for being with us, and Donald, especially to you for being our guest this evening. Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Everybody have a great evening. See you next
Good night.
sooner.